What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of the Dossier, the Marvel Crisis Protocol show where we talk about Crisis Protocol characters, their card, their sculpt, what they bring to the table, and just our overall thoughts on the character in the game itself. Of course, these are not meant to be comprehensive review videos. They're just meant to kind of get you thinking and talking about these characters and hopefully spark some interest in a character you might not have thought about for a little while. And of course, these shows can't happen without all the wonderful supports of the patrons. If you want to be a patron yourself, go to patreon.com/AegisBrand Studios. Couple bucks a month keeps all the lights on, keeps us current, and allows me to keep putting this content out for all of you guys to enjoy and continue to improve it. And that goes for the battle reports as well. So today we are going to be taking a look at Carnage, Cletus Cassidy. And this is probably one of the coolest models in the game, if not one of the most difficult ones to kind of paint up in a way that works. Like right off the hop, like just look at this. There is so much going on here. The tendrils have all the sort of like the wrapping black tendrils on it, the black details, everything on the body between the musculature and the veins and all that sort of stuff, trying to get like all these pieces. There is so much going on with this model. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Not within my top 10, but it's definitely one of the cooler models I think in the game. And I think if you have the chance to paint him up, give him a try. Just be very patient when trying to get all the veining on him. It's very dynamic. I love that he's being held up by his tendrils itself. I like that he has like the claw hand, and the like sort of the bladed hand as well. If I recall correctly, I believe he also came with other variants for his arms as well for different weapons. And just a lot of fun went into sculpting him, I think. And I think Carnage is a model that unfortunately does not see nearly enough play on the table for how good of a model he is. So hopefully things change a little bit as we see some more symbiotes hit the table. So as far as his stat line, he's got 7 stamina on both his healthy and his injured side. He's got medium movement. He is size 2, 4 threat, and his defenses are 5-1-1. So right off the hop, his defensive stat line is going to scare a lot of people off. That 1 defense die on energy and mystic is really going to make him a hard sell for a lot of people. Because he really, even with his stamina pool, it's going to be hard for him to take a lot of shots from anything that's not a physical attack. So you really got to be careful with Carnage in that regard. He's got symbiote tendrils, range 3, 5 dice builder attack, which applies the bleed. Very similar to what we saw in Venom with this one. No real notes on it. It's a solid ability. Then up we have maximum carnage, a physical attack, area 2, 7 dice for 5 power. After the attack is resolved, the target character gains bleed. So any target who gets hit by this area attack is going to be bleeding. And then it has a wild hit rampage. After each attack is resolved, deal 1 damage to each other enemy character within 2 of this character. So any character that's already getting hit by the area to attack is basically going to get hit by this damage as well. And this triggers after each attack is resolved. So if you're hitting 3 characters and you get that rampage 3 times, you're hitting 2 other characters for an extra damage each time. And it really adds up. Like that is a lot of damage coming through, and you cannot bunch up around Carnage because he can really make you pay for it. I do feel that the attack might be a little too expensive at 5. I personally would probably like it around 4, but this was an earlier card where AMG was still kind of trying to figure out area attacks. They've gotten a lot better with it over the time, but there's still some issues with the area attacks where they don't always quite feel that they're costed properly. So we have an active ability called Sadistic Glee for 2 power. During the next attack action made by this character this turn, add 2 dice to its attack rolls after each attack is resolved. If the attack roll contains any failed results, this character suffers 1 damage. It can only be used once per turn. So a couple key things here. First off, it's the next attack action. So that maximum carnage, that attack, that area 2 attack, you can turn into a 9 dice area 2 attack for an extra 2 power. That is going to wreck most things that it goes up against. That is absolutely fantastic. He does suffer damage if he rolls any skulls, and it can proc multiple times if you're making multiple attack rolls, which is something to keep in mind. But he can absolutely pop off and do a lot of damage. And even if he takes some damage, he does have another ability that can potentially mitigate this. He's got a reactive ability, Paint the Town Red for 3 power. If this character dazes or KOs an enemy character with an attack during its activation, this character may use this superpower. After the attack is resolved, this character advances short, removes all damage from itself, then makes a symbiote tendrils attack, can only be used once per turn. He can get a third attack. If he does what Carnage is supposed to do and just dummies a character, you can pay 3 power, get that extra attack. So a Carnage that has 10 power can basically do everything he wants in a single round and just do some absolutely devastating things. I know I've had it happen to me personally. I've seen it happen to other characters and other players as well. It is a devastating thing, and it means that if you fail to take Carnage down before he's activated, he's gonna have the power to do a lot of what he wants to do, and the odds are very good he is about to take somebody down. So never count Carnage out. He's difficult to play because of those defensives, but man, if you let him do what he needs to do, you're in trouble. He does have an innate ability called Arch Nemesis Eddie Brock. When attacking Eddie Brock, this character may modify or reroll skull results and may reroll any number of attack dice. At the start of this character's activation, if there's a non-dazed enemy Eddie Brock within 3 of this character's first action must be an attack action targeting Eddie Brock if possible. We've only seen the Arch Nemesis thing pop up on 2 characters, Carnage and Goblin. Unfortunately, I don't think it's used nearly enough. I think it's a really interesting mechanic that I'd like to see more of. I mean, there's not really much to say about this. If you take Venom against Carnage, Carnage is just going to ruin Venom's day. It's just what's going to happen. So yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's very nondescript. Otherwise, like maybe you have a way of kind of controlling where Venom goes as a result, but it's a very weird power. It's not hugely impactful outside of a very niche case. Next up, we have Symbiotic Serial Killer. Well, when this character is attacking, the defending character does not add dice to its defense roll for crit results. So no exploding crits. This can really change the math when you're dealing with Carnage, because anyone who kind of relies on those extra crits, Malekith, Domino, anyone who can sort of create crits from skulls or anything like that, or just any way to modify into crits or something like that, you're not getting those extra dice, which means the dice are as they lay. Maybe you get some rerolls, but that's about it. And then, of course, he does have Wall Crawler. So that's his card. But what about tactics cards? Well, he does come with 2. The first one we're going to talk about is There Will Be Carnage. This is an unaffiliated active card. Carnage may spend any number of power to play this card. Choose one enemy character within 3 of Carnage for each power spent. The chosen characters gain the root special condition. It's one of the rare instances of root in the game. I absolutely love it. Does it make your 10? I don't know. It all depends on how you're kind of playing it. But root can be a very detrimental power if you get it off at the right time on the right characters and everything like that. And then it does actually have a decent range of range 3 as well. So I think it can be worth it. It's a great way of dropping some power on Carnage and can really make it more difficult for them to use reactive tech or to get the rest of their game plan going. Next up, we have Carnage Rules. It's an unaffiliated active card. Carnage may spend 4 power during his activation to play this card. Choose an enemy character within 4 of Carnage. Advance the chosen character short towards Carnage. After the advance, Carnage may make a symbiote tendrils attack targeting the chosen character. So this is a 4th potential attack that Carnage can get. Not only that, but it's displacing a character as well. Advancing them short towards Carnage. So if you can get them within range 3, you make that symbiote tendrils attack. Maybe you take a character down, or maybe you just really hurt them and set up for a potential paint the town red by taking them down with a follow-up attack or something like that. Carnage is one of those characters that if you set him up well, he is going to just run the table on you. He is a big threat. If you see him on the board, you absolutely need to deal with him, because if you leave him unchecked and he gets enough power to kind of do what he wants to do, he is really going to cause problems for you, and he can easily chew through an entire team. I've had a game where he basically went through 4 of my characters in a single round, just from all his attacks, his area attacks, and all that sort of stuff. So he can really cause a lot of problems. Obviously, he is a spider foe, and I think he's just a spider foe. I don't think he's anywhere else. But he can, if you want to add a little bit of aggression to any of your teams, he can definitely fit that niche really nicely. Just really watch out for his defensive stats, because if you're not paying attention, that one energy, that one mystic, will definitely allow people to focus him down with the right attack types. And even though he has a great stamina pool, it will only go so far. So leave your comments below. Do you like Carnage? Do you want to see more of Carnage, or do you think he's inherently flawed? I'd like to hear from you. And of course, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing. And for all the patrons, thank you so much for being a patron. Remember, if you want to support the channel, patreon.com/AegisBrand or check out iwargame.net and use code AegisBrand to save 10% on your battle mat needs. Thanks so much for watching. Happy wargaming.